This episode is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
Did he compensate you?
Oh, for sure.
How?
Kind of wire transfers, not really on like a monthly, set
here and
amount. Yeah. Well, if he did something wrong or like was verbally abusive, he would send $5,000 or $10,000 to my account the next morning when he woke up and was like having regrets about it.
Not 400 or 500, 5,000 to 10,000.
Yeah. So it conditioned me in some ways to want him to have that episode so that the next day, I'm like, well, I know a wire transfer is coming.
You would try to trigger him?
Eventually, like I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed.
Was it ever physically abusive or just verbally?
No, just verbally.
Yeah.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the number one sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily,
the long-legged blonde.
Oh yes, but the
stories
shocking
of sugar dating,
shocking stories of sugar dating. We have a guest who's got some very long legs. We're not going to get into that quite
Spoiler.
yet. Yeah, right. Spoiler alert. Anyway, let's talk really quickly. It's your birthday.
Not yet.
Well,
by the time this comes out.
By the time this comes out, it's going to be like
my 56th birthday. No, not really.
No, I get them out sooner than that. Actually, we're not on much of a delay. We're only on like a week delay right now, which is we got to get some in the queue. But anyway, happy birthday.
Thank you.
We're going to be, by the time you guys are hearing this, we're probably in New York City.
Yes, sirree.
And I can't wait. We're flying in that weekend. And I've got 3 plays booked. Mm-hmm. You're doing 5 plays in 5 days.
Yes, I am.
And you know what? Google's an amazing animal, because when I booked the first play, all of a sudden, all my social media ads are all of the musicals going on in New York City. They're all trying to entice me to book for them. Yeah,
I got all mine booked and I still keep getting inundated with ads for more.
But Wicked was sold out. I had to go to StubHub to get our tickets there, which they had quite a few at StubHub, but they were sold out. The other 2 aren't. I think we're going to go see Aladdin with you guys and Juliet, which I've been, now that all my ads are getting
populated.
Towards that, I keep getting the Anne Juliet ads, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty excited to see it.
Me too.
Yeah,
I've had friends who have seen it and they're raving about it.
Really? Well, that's
magical.
Good. Okay.
Are we worried about the protesters in Times Square?
I'm not worried. I looked at the calendar. I'm hoping that they're not going to be in that area, but we'll see.
Go away. It's Lily's birthday.
Yeah, really. They can't protest during Lily's birthday.
Be gone with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, another party we're having is in June 21st through 23rd, and you are invited, but you better hurry. Sponsors, oh my God, we've got so many good sponsors this year. A lot of great guys have stepped up. I only have a couple spots left. If you're going to be a sponsor, you better hurry. Get in touch with us at info@secretsofasugardaddy.com, or you can message us on Instagram or Patreon. If I get very many more sponsors, we might have to kind of do some things with the party, but we'll see. We might have to expand it a little bit. I only have 40 tickets to the Shakira suite.
This is true.
So this is going to be tough, because we're going to have to leave some people out that I really, really want us to join us. But applications are still open. If you're a sugar baby and you want to have an unbelievable time, something you'll never forget, we still have spots available. Go to our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. Press the party tab. 3 days, 2 nights in beautiful Arizona. I don't care if it's 110, 115 degrees. You will love it. Yeah, they get accommodations there. We have a great mixer. So what we've done is it's kind of evolved. We had mixers at Bad Brad's Suite at the W. But they just get a little too loud and rowdy, and security keeps coming up there. We hate bothering people.
You know, it makes me sad.
What's that?
Bad Brad's not coming this time.
He says that.
Watch him get FOMO'd out.
Yeah, he says that.
At the last minute.
I know, right?
Figure out a way. There's always a way.
We're going to try to get him to come, but he says work is in his way, unfortunately, this time. But I'm going to dangle a few carrots, send him a few photos of some of the applicants, and that may entice him. But anyway, we have taken it from the hotel suite to a country club where they love parties, and we're going to have a DJ photo booth. It's a great mixer. You can participate as much or as little as you want. It's a great place to meet everybody for the first time that's not in your Airbnb. And then the next day is the Shakira concert. And so we're going to have a pre-party at my house, a party bus, which is so much fun. It's the only way to go to a concert unless you're in a limo. But this is like a giant limo with stripper poles and LED lights and music.
What about the time we drove a Mormon wagon to a concert?
Oh, we did. So the memories are popping up. 2 years ago this week, we had the Taylor Swift concert. And we rented this huge van because we didn't have as many people. That was kind of impromptu. But anyway, we rented it from this Mormon family, and then we left a whole bottle of alcohol in there. It was pretty funny. Anyway, we were talking about that last night at dinner. It was such a great time. And that's when Trucker pretty much first entered the scene. That was his first big shindig with the crew. And
baptized by fire.
We haven't been able to get rid of him. But anyway, so it's so much fun. We've got a private suite for Shakira with our own bartender, and then the party bus will take us back to my place where the party seems to continue. But Lily and Trucker will be off to bed because they don't do the late nights.
No, it's all I can do to make it back to home base on the party bus.
Usually you guys could barely walk at that point.
Yeah, we're lightweights.
And then the next day is a brunch, and we'll see you guys off to wherever you came from. Some people stay a little extra. Just let us know, and we will plan accordingly. Now, before we get to our guest, Patreon, if you're a Patreon member, you will get priority judging on that status. I have people apply, and they're like, they're not a member of Patreon. It's free. We do have some tiers that help support the show, so we always appreciate you supporters. And then we have some tiers where you can get some coaching and profile reviews, and we love helping people on that. So Alejandra helped Amy, who's back on the site, my original co-host, with her profile the other, because she just wasn't getting any good matches. And all of a sudden, she's inundated with really good
What was
guys.
wrong with her profile? Can I ask?
Well, you'll have to ask them. I didn't really go over it, but she just made it better. And she made the profile pictures better.
Oh.
A little bit more representative and fun. And all of a sudden now she's getting a lot of great prospects. And yeah.
Good.
So
glad to hear it.
Yeah. So we love helping you guys on that. You know, you want to attract what you're looking for and not attract what you're not. Like Kimmy has gotten back on there and she's been sending us screenshots of the messages she's getting. Oh man, we have got to do
They're
better.
ridiculous.
Really? You're going to say this and you just expect that girl to fawn all over you?
Right out the gate.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Let's update our audience. So Amy is married to Eddie and she's back on Seeking.
Yes.
And she's back working for you part-time or full-time?
Part-time.
Part-time.
As much as she can put in though.
Is Eddie also sugar dating? I know he has in the past.
No, he's a good looking boy and girls throw themselves at him.
Yeah. So they have an open marriage, a truly open marriage. Mm-hmm. And it's working out fine?
They seem very happy together, which is, I know, it's still an odd concept for me. Our guest grew up in Texas. I grew up in Texas. That is the Bible Belt. That was a big no-no, like unheard of.
Yeah.
And here, you know, I've kind of doing the sugar dating lifestyle where there's a lot of openness to it. So,
E&M.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to our guest. Speaking of Texas, she is here in the studio. Now, the great thing is she flew in last night. We had an unbelievably great dinner. And unbeknownst to us, the dinner was Southern cooking, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, it was so good. So we got to visit with her over dinner, have some good Southern cooking food. Welcome to Scottsdale, Arizona, Kristin Birdwell, and that is her real name, and you'll know why here in just a minute.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Giddy up. Got my cowboy boots on.
Yeehaw.
You do.
We both do.
I loved dinner with y'all last night and getting to drop in a little bit before the podcast. And
Oh, man, she just sounds like home to me. I grew up in Texas, in Central Texas. Now, she's from East Texas, but still the accent.
yeah, you can't tame the twang. Or at least I can't.
Right.
And nor do I want to.
You live in Austin now with the famous Matthew McConaughey. Not with him, but in the same city, same
She wishes.
area.
I know. Like, that's my number one probably celebrity crush.
Oh, he get on board with that bus with about
I know.
How many hundreds of millions of women.
He's adorable.
Yeah, so you have a very interesting background, and you wrote us a letter, and anyway, we contacted you because you've actually written some books, or a book,
One right now published and then one on the way.
and then you do a podcast also. It's so interesting, and you've been participating in this lifestyle kind of in the wild in the beginning. So give us a little background. You were born and raised in East Texas?
Yeah, deep in the heart of the Bible
Okay, and
Belt.
what was your family dynamic like? Were they a religious family?
To some degree, like my dad definitely was not, and nature was his church for sure.
Okay.
But they split whenever I was 5. And then my stepdad entered the picture around like junior high, and I was able to, broaden my scope of religion and just new age perspectives. He was very like into spirituality and quantum physics. So I remember one day he put up a map of religion on the computer screen. He's like, you likely, because I asked him why we weren't going to church anymore. And I was like, am I going to go to hell?
Right.
And so he pulled up this map of religion, and he's like, you likely believe what you grew up around. And it was like segmented out by different color coded, regions. And I was like, oh, well, if that's true for religion, what else is that true for? Everything. So it was a very paradigm shifting moment. But I
Wow,
definitely
what a
went to-
perspective he gave you.
Yeah. But I grew up going to, what are those camps in the summertime? Vacation Bible School?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
VBS.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I came from a big family, and my mom was like, I can't babysit all these kids. We'll put them in vacation Bible school.
Yeah, that was her, let her hair down week?
Yeah, absolutely. So you participated in that. What was your dating life in high school? Now, you are absolutely gorgeous. Did you blossom early in school?
I was a tomboy growing up. Like, I had buck teeth. One of my best friends is like, she does stand up. She jokes that I was a tomboy and had an awkward stage, and it forced me to develop a personality. So like, I remember when boys first started paying attention to me, but it definitely wasn't until later on in life. And my mom and stepdad were like, oh, Kristin, if you could only walk 2 steps behind you, you'd see that people are paying attention, but they're probably intimidated. Because I was like, why am I not getting asked to prom? That sort of thing. So dating, I was also a rebel, though, I will say. I always liked a little bad boy. I didn't like being told what to do. I always wanted to dance to the beat of my own drum. And so that probably, kicked in, especially when I went to college and like signed up for my first sugar daddy dating website. But
Well, wait. Okay. We're going there.
yeah.
So you didn't date much in high school.
Yeah, I think I had one long-term boyfriend like my senior year, and that I actually chose to stay close and not go to one of the bigger schools because I could have gone anywhere with my grades, and I graduated top 10, but I wanted to stay close to him because I was in love and that was going to be like the one, right?
Well, what happened to that relationship?
It lasted a semester.
Well, like they all do.
Yeah.
All right. So you go to college, and now you're a freshman in college. And what in the world were you thinking when you thought, I'm going to sign up for a sugar daddy site?
I was in between classes, and I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Phil, and he had this younger woman on and an older man, and they were talking about condos and trips and money, and I'm like looking at my bank account. I'm like, oh, I'm skirting by the hair on my chinny chin chin, and I liked older guys anyway, and so I was like, I'm going to sign up, and so I signed up. This was like an older website that I don't even know if it's still around.
This was like in 09 or something?
The first time I signed up, I think it was 2006 or 2007.
Wow.
But then I freaked out, closed it, and then re-signed up in 2009.
Okay.
And how old were you in 2009?
I was just turned 21.
Just turned 21. Okay. And do you remember what the site was called?
SugarDaddyForMe.com.
Sugar Daddy for Me.
I haven't heard that one, so maybe it's defunct or
Yeah.
changed. But
yeah, or maybe not as good or relevant. But I remember then I had a little bit more alcohol in my system, but I was still so nervous because this was like pre-app swiping era. There was no Tinder, there was no Bumble. It was like, you're just really starting to, meet people. And I was so nervous. So I saw this guy's profile and I was just kind of enamored. I'm like, he had dark, long hair and blue eyes, kind of reminded me of Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. Mm-hmm. He was like, do you like the mountains or the beach? Well, you don't have to choose. I have homes in both, and real witty other kind of profile things. And I was sitting in World Geography one day and I was like, man, I really want to see the world. I want to go on an adventure. And he sent me a text and he's like, you want to get drunk and make questionable decisions?
Yes, I do.
And I was like, yes.
Why?
Yes, sign me up.
Yes, I do.
And so I actually recruited my gay best friend to go up there with me because I was so scared.
Now,
and
up
nervous.
where?
Oh, in Dallas.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
You were in a small town, so probably Dallas was the closest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was living in Tyler and we drove to Dallas, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Right.
Showed up on his doorstep, which I do not recommend, but there was no podcast to listen to beforehand.
Wow.
I've done it.
Throwing caution to the wind. Oh, we've all done it.
I drove all the way to Sedona to someone's house.
Oh my goodness.
Cowboy
Oh,
Clyde.
that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
In my glitter pink car.
Yes.
Oh, glitter pink?
I had
Yes.
a glitter pink car. It was wrapped glitter pink, not pink. Glitter
No,
pink.
I love glitter pink.
Unmistakably.
Oh God,
Lily.
it was so cute. I call it my midlife crisis car. And he was appalled. He's like, oh God, what are my neighbors going to say? Because it was a really ritzy, gated community. He lived in this gorgeous Frank Lloyd Wright mansion. He drove nothing but Mercedes and I don't know, all these other expensive cars.
Oh, the visuals,
and
too
he's
much.
like, oh God, what are you driving?
Well, I know when I saw her glitter pink car the first time, she showed up on my doorstep, but we had FaceTimed, so it wasn't completely throwing caution
I
to the wind.
FaceTimed Cowboy Clyde too.
Oh, you did?
He was so cranky about it. Old guys, they do not like to FaceTime.
You're driving 3 hours.
That's what I told him.
Yeah.
I'm like, before I make this drive, we should just see what we think about each other, at least in 2D, before I show up to your doorstep in 3D. And he consented. It was really short, though, because he was so awkward and uncomfortable on FaceTime.
Did he know where the camera was? No, I'm kidding.
Kind of, yeah. I don't think he'd FaceTimed before. Maybe he had.
I think a FaceTime or a call is definitely a good idea.
Well, they certainly didn't have that back in 2006 or whenever, 9 or whenever you did that.
I mean, I think I was like either rocking a flip phone or like
Yeah.
maybe the OG BlackBerry.
Well, back then the phones were getting smaller and smaller, and like that was the vogue thing to have the smallest phone you could have.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
March Madness is here, and if you want to enhance the experience, join me, Gary Parrish, and my colleague Matt Norlander on the Ion College Basketball Podcast, part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. We have new episodes at least 3 times a week and at the end of every night of the NCAA tournament. So before you go to bed, hang with us or know we'll be there when you awake. We'll break down games, make picks against the spread. Most of all, we'll have a blast. So join us on the Ion College Basketball Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so we hijacked your story. You showed up on this doorstep with your gay best friend.
Yeah. And he was actually from my same small hometown. So like
The guy?
Yeah, my gay best friend.
Oh, the gay best friend. Okay.
So we had been friends for a long time. We're like, if I knew I needed just like that little extra touch or edge of go ahead and do it, I leaned on him for the support. But we drove up there and he's like, hey, he opened the door. He's like, whoa, you want a tour of my house? So we go on a tour of his house and we're like sitting there.
Now, what were your first thoughts when he opened the door? Was he attractive? Because there's a chemistry that you kind of like, okay, I can deal with this. Or, oh my God.
I was attracted and I was definitely, tongue attached to the roof of my mouth because I was so nervous at the same time. I was like, oh my God. Just like going through the motions, kind of like in the moment, but also watching the moment at the same time. Like, what am I doing? But this is fun. This is a thrill. That type of thing too.
Okay, how far
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
How far was the drive to Dallas?
About an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, that's not too bad. And your backup plan was abort, drive home?
Yeah, either drive home or use a credit card to get a hotel room or something. But I mean,
Now, did you warn him your friend was coming?
He knew, and
Okay.
he understood. So that also made me feel a little more at peace.
Yeah. if I knew a young girl was coming to visit me and she was very nervous about it and she said, hey, I'm bringing my gay best friend or best friend, I mean, you can't blame her. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and so then we ended up sitting in his office, and I loved looking at the photos and the books. Like, I'm a sapiosexual. Like, you got to turn on my mind, too. Mm-hmm. And so I was just, like, so in awe. I'm like, what did you study? Da-da-da. But he also, like, so I know you want to date a guy with money. I was like, oh, he's just going to point blank put it out there like that. I was like, yeah, I think so. Yes. And he's like, well, how about a little birthday shopping at Neiman's? And I had never set foot in a Neiman's before. Wow. So we get into his driver, takes us to Neiman's.
His driver?
Yeah.
What did this guy do? Do you know?
I do. So I'm like a little bit hesitant because I've changed
just
some
industry.
details.
Just the industry.
I would say real estate and club ownership.
Okay.
And also inherited money later on, but very wealthy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how wealthy whenever.
Well, yeah, as a driver.
Yeah. Well, and also because he was an alcoholic.
Oh. That you didn't know in the beginning.
Not right away. I mean, I was a weekend warrior for sure, but I didn't realize just to the extent of what his drinking was. I was like, okay, I just turned 21. Yeah, let's go have birthday shop. So we ended up doing that. He buys my friend something, and
at Neiman's. Marcus, you've never been in?
I had never been there.
What did you get?
I think I got like a David Yurman bracelet, new Todd sandals, this really cute gray dress. I was just like, whoa, this is.
Do you know how much all that added up to?
I mean, David Yurman bracelet alone was probably $1,000 or eight to $1,000. And then I remember flipping over the shoe and being like, $300. This is what my rent is.
Well, back then.
Yeah.
I mean, even now that's expensive, but back then that's super expensive.
Yeah. And so I felt a little Pretty Woman moment in some ways. And he bought my friend a pair of Prada loafers or something. He was like, oh my God. Yeah. And then we ended up going to like a sports bar and then a strip club. And then we just had a wild night.
Had you been to a strip club before?
For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, should I just go ahead and say the title of my book is Sex, Drugs, and Soul? So that gives you a little indication of where, some of my
Sex, drugs, and what?
Soul.
Sex, drugs, and soul. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was a little wild child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still have moments, but definitely have tamed down a little bit. But we go on that ride and then come back to his house and are partying and up all night. We end up staying the night, and we kind of had a little tiff, or like he got a little spouted off, a little angry, but I kind of shrugged it off and drove home the next morning. I think we called in because I was waiting tables at the time. So Colin and I were working at the same restaurant too. I think we called in, like said we had some car trouble or something, and because we were so hungover, they're like, "There's no way we're gonna make it." Then I think a week later, I got a text from him. I was like, "Oh, I thought he didn't like me."
Well, did anything sexual happen?
It did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually, I was
you kind of you breezed right past that part.
Yeah, because it was a little traumatic. Like I was so young and naive, and like had wounds from earlier years that. Yeah. He's like, this is the most boring sex I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, I haven't had that much
God.
sex.
Wait. I'm 21. Hello.
Yeah.
How old was he?
At that time, probably mid to late 40s.
Okay.
So after you guys had some intimacy, then he tells you that?
It's like during.
Oh, during.
But there's like drinking and cocaine.
Red flag.
Oh, there was drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't realize that I had like big T and little T traumas going into some of it. But yeah.
What does that mean?
Just like trauma, like early childhood trauma.
Like capital T.
Yeah, like bigger events
T.
and like smaller trauma.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so he sent me a text like a week later. He's like, do you want to go to Mexico with my sister and her boyfriend, and you can bring whoever you like? Okay. He's like, we're going to take my dad's jet to Mexico. I was like, okay. So
wow. So all of a sudden you're getting thrown into a life you don't know.
That was completely different than mine. Like I grew up peeing in a bucket on my dad's 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like bucket to bucket.
That's
like,
small town Texas right there. I hear you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, shrug it off, okay, that happened. Maybe that was just because he was so drunk and wasted and made excuses and stuff. And in some ways I was like willing to overlook it. Yeah. It was a on and off for the next 7 years.
Wait.
I mean,
you saw that guy on and off for 7 years?
Yeah.
Did he compensate you?
Oh, for sure.
How?
kind of wire transfers, not really on like a monthly,
kinda
set
here and there.
amount. Yeah. Well, if he did something wrong or like was verbally abusive, he would send $5,000 or $10,000 to my account the next morning when he woke up and was like having regrets about it.
Not
Conditioned
4 or
me.
500, 5 to 10,000.
Yeah. So it conditioned me in some ways to want him to
Right.
have that episode so that the next day, I'm like, well, I know a wire transfer is coming.
You would
so-
try to trigger him.
Eventually, like I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed.
Was it ever physically abusive or just verbally?
No, just verbally.
Yeah. Guess that might be worth it.
How much money do you think on average per year you were getting from this guy?
God, I wish that I would have been way smarter about investments and saving then, but I was also very generous with my friends too. Probably 6 figures, because I was like, oh, if I'm flush, you're flush too. Let's
Yeah.
go. I'm treating you. I'm buying
Well,
things.
it's kind of
for
like the
friends and
athletes with
family.
that big contract. They have all their posse around and they just think the money is never going to end, and then it ends. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So why did that finally end?
I think that I wanted to reclaim my independence, or like I had become fully financially reliant upon him. And I have always had big dreams and ambitions and goals. And I felt like it was toxic, and I just wanted to separate myself.
Were the two of you exclusive?
At one point we were. And in the beginning, he kind of led me to believe that we were. And then I discovered, a lot of this is in the book, but I discovered I would go up to stairs and I'd come down and someone was in his room with him, or I would find another woman's suitcase. And I was like, wait, you told me not to see other boys. I thought we were dating one another. I made an assumption that wasn't true.
I have a funny side note. Yesterday, Alejandra walks into my bathroom and there's a tube of toothpaste there, the brand that we don't use. And she looks at me very sternly. It's like, where'd this come from? Who'd you have over? Blah, blah, blah. It was Amy's. Amy was getting ready for an interview and she brought it in and left it there. And I was teasing Alejandra. I was
That's
like,
funny.
oh shit. I guess she didn't take that with her. Who didn't? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I need to know, did the sex with Mr. Dallas ever get better?
It did.
7
and it
years, I would
evolved.
hope so.
And also, I think he also saw this as a way to, okay, if she doesn't have much experience, I can train her.
Oh.
And so we explored a little bit of, the BDSM realm. We videotaped ourselves. We brought in other women. So it definitely went from vanilla to like taste the rainbow, like as far as
Was
ice
any
cream
of
flavors.
that appealing to you? Did any of it stick?
Some of it was me wanting to please him and make him happy, even though that's not possible, me to make someone else happy. But
Right.
I tried and tried and tried. But then there was some elements of it that I definitely loved. Like I loved playing with other women. I loved even like the recording of it. I was like, oh, that's what my body looks like. Because I struggled with body dysmorphia for a long time. And I was like, what I saw, I'm like, that's what my body looks like.
Yeah.
So
That can be a little traumatic. Burning question. Did your mom or dad know about this?
yes, they didn't know where we met, but they knew I was dating an older, wealthy guy in Dallas. And my dad, I remember one time we got together after his cancer diagnosis, and he was saying he's like, are you still dating grandpa? So
Did he anytime call him your sugar daddy?
no, but he did at one point, and I can't remember where in the timeline this is, but he's like, Kristen, you can marry a rich man just as easily as you can a poor man. Because I think that I'd introduced some of my boyfriends to him, and I would be like, Dad, what do you think about this guy? And he's like, jury's still out. It's like, okay, he doesn't like this guy. So
Did your family meet Dallas?
no, he met some of my friends. I was trying to think if my mom ever met him. No. Mm-mm.
No.
Well, it's funny because I finally met her parents, both sides. They just jokingly refer to me as her sugar daddy.
Oh,
So, I mean, it's half-assed joking because I think they suspected very quickly because, she's always flushed with cash. Her school's being paid for. She's going on great vacation. She's meeting older, wealthier people and hanging out with them. They're like,
this quacks like a duck, walks like
Yeah.
a duck, talks like a duck. It might be a duck.
might be a duck.
There's so much within language too. I didn't have any qualms with signing up and going into like the sugar bowl or sugar dating realm. It wasn't until some other people started to find out that I started to feel any shame around it.
You just were having a great time. You weren't worried about the stigma of it at the time.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And there's also a little turn on in the taboo for me, but I the other people's projections of shame was kind of like, I was like, oh, guess I have to keep my life choices secret.
Now you've gotten through college at this point. And then were you working?
I worked different jobs at different times, but I was never a 9-to-5 girly.
I mean, you're bringing in some serious money, like 6 figures a year during that time.
Yeah, I was blowing a lot of it too, shopping and doing what I thought that would make me happy is like all this external validation or materialistic items or, numbing a lot. And then it wasn't until I had a breakdown in my closet that I was like, wow, none of this matters. All of this stuff.
What
in the
spurred
wall.
that?
That was right before my dad died with cancer, but we had actually gone to Paris. I'd gone to Paris with Dallas and he had told me, I'm going to show you Paris and we're going to discover Rome together. He wanted to take a father figure of his to see the Vatican before he died. I was like, okay, and I always had a willingness to believe him. I loved him so much, no matter how turbulent the relationship was. And then he stayed in the hotel room the whole time we were there and just drank. And I ended up getting my own hotel room in Rome. And so we fly back private. I'm wheeling down like all this fancy stuff. And I go into my closet and I'm like, I've got everything that I was told would make me happy.
Yeah.
And the richest person I know is the most depressed person I know. So I was like, something is off here. So I remember I slid down my closet wall and just had a full on breakdown. I was like, who am I? What am I doing? How do I get back to the little girl that knew she could do anything she wanted to do?
Wow. What a turn, huh?
Yeah.
So here you are getting everything you thought you wanted, but in the meantime, you're losing yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's definitely a disconnection because there's a part of me is like, this is not how you deserve to be treated, but we accept the love we think we deserve it.
So you have this pivotal moment in your mind and you decide it's time for a change. What direction did you go?
I packed up my bags and I moved to California. I was like, I'm going to follow my storytelling dream. I'm going to take some writing and acting classes. I'm going to start, I wanted to write screenplays. I wanted to write books. I've always been a storyteller and a writer. I'd saved up a little money. I was like, so I had a little nest egg and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm never going to talk to him again. Here's the keys and I'm gone. But at that time I was even in a different place. But I moved and then a month after I moved to California, my dad died. And so I was catapulted on this spiritual and healing journey too. And I was working 2 different jobs. I had gotten a cocktail job, even though I had the degree and everything, but I needed the flexibility. And then I called them. I'm like, hey, I've got to go. I just got the news that my dad's going to be dying soon. And they're like, go. And then I called Dallas and I was like, I need to go to say goodbye to my dad. And he's like, is this a charter situation or can you hop on the next flight in the morning? And he booked the flight for me. And so I'm so grateful for so many of the things that he did for me. He always showed up for me in really tender moments. Yeah, it brings tears to my eyes. Obviously, y'all can see.
Yeah. I'm tearing up a little bit.
Yeah. And even to this day, I have to say, because he would always still show up for me, even though we're not in close communication. So yeah, I have to go and say that. And so then it was just kind of this rediscovery and self-awareness process. I was in the perfect place to heal. I love nature. And so I would go on beach walks with my dad. I would go walk and then I'd come back in a journal. Dove into so many different books and signed up for different classes.
Now, how old were you when all this took place?
I was still in my early 20s.
Really?
So that was 24, I think.
So your dad died very young. I lost my mom to cancer, but fortunately, she lived a pretty long life, but I can just imagine.
How long ago was that?
It was in 2021. So
oh, wow.
yeah,
still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
I keep hijacking a little bit, but my brother actually just came out to visit me with his family. He was a raging alcoholic, drug user all his life. Couldn't have a conversation with him, moody, irresponsible. My mother was the biggest enabler. But the greatest thing is sometimes bad things happen for good reasons. My mom did contract breast cancer and passed away way too early. The day she died was the last day my brother was a drunk.
Oh, wow.
And he completely turned his life around that day.
Wow.
And I had a weekend with him and his family that I've never had before. We were able to communicate. We're on the same page. He's working hard now. He's built a family. And it's amazing. It's I lost my mother, but I gained a brother. So it's been
like a little pearl found.
Yeah. So that can be very traumatic and tragic, but hopefully something good came out of it for you.
I feel like my dad gave me so much of my story and who I am, and his, he gets to live on through the telling of my stories and through my book. And I had different ethereal experiences. I moved to California, and it was a very sober time in my life. Like, I was just reading a lot, and he came to me in dreams. I had different experiences like that were very cathartic and healing. And I just dove into creativity again. And I definitely had some bumps after that, but it was definitely like a pivotal shift in my life.
Now, when you were in California, did you engage in any sugar dating, or were you on a break?
No, I signed up on Seeking at that time briefly. And then I think I got off. And because at that time, Dallas, or Bradley in my book, was still sending me money, even though we weren't seeing one another. I think he also knew that he provided me financial space and breathing room to do a little bit of grieving and healing. And if I ever needed something, he would reach out to me.
What does he think of the book?
And then he moved to also California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing. I was so nervous to share it with him at first. So I finished the first round of edits, and our second round, I'd fine-tooth combed it, polished it, but I was so nervous that I waited 6 months to send it to him. I was like, okay, I've just got to do it. And so I sent it, and I was like, hey, I've changed identifying details. If there's anything that you identify that you want me to change that alludes to who you are, let me know. And he came back and he read it and he took ownership. And at this time, he's sober now. And so he took full ownership. He's like, I don't doubt anything that you said in the book. He's like, don't get me wrong, I don't really like that I'm one of the main characters in your book. But as far as writing goes, it's incredible. And I love you and I'm so proud of you. And so it's very
validating.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that.
And then and I hadn't seen him for several years. I published it. And then after I published it, we grabbed lunch. And it was also an exercise in me being able to use my voice and actually speak the things that were going on in the interior life for me. Because for a while, I was like, how can he not know how I feel? He doesn't feel my emotions. But I didn't verbalize it. I didn't always communicate it in that way to him. I was so young. And so we had a nice lunch, and that was the last time I saw him.
Which was how long ago?
That was 2022.
Okay. You're not even the same person you were back then.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
You're like, I look at myself when I hit 30, I'm thinking, I'm not even the same person I was at 22. Mm-hmm. And then at 50, I'm not even close to that guy at 30.
Yeah.
We changed so much. Well, it's funny, we changed, but then there's a lot of us that just stays the same. But yeah, the dumb mistakes and the way I was thinking and looking at the world has completely changed.
Yeah. And I just expressed gratitude for showing up for me in the ways that he knew how, and in different pivotal moments where I needed the help or assistance or lawyer. And
or lawyer.
Yeah. Which that's in the book too.
Really? Yeah. So this
Tell us why you needed a lawyer.
Yeah. So this was before a big moment in my self-discovery journey too. I was dating someone that actually I was introduced to, and we were FaceTiming every day. Like, I was still in California at this point. He was like, I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to, XYZ. And so I just believed, I believed everything that I wanted to believe. And he was telling me all these things. And so I moved back to Texas from California. And I find out he's lying to both of us, but the sex was so good. I was kind of addicted to the sex too. But I was like, okay, I got to cut ties with him. So I gave him back all of his stuff. Like, I dropped it off at his work, and I hopped on a flight to Australia. I was like, I got to get over him. Because I have a friend that lives there who's like a brother. And he was like, he's crashed on my couch several times. He's like, sis, come down and hang out with me for 2 weeks. And it was my winter and it was summer there. And
it's opposite.
Yeah. Right? So I went, and then I'm there like a week or so. And then my gay best friend from the first story sends me a text. And he's like, you might want a news article. He's like, you might want to check this out. And it was like, East Texas man hires, hitman or something like that. And I was like, wait, what? And then it mentions him and affairs and a name he used to call me. And I was like, holy crap, this is big. And I'm out of the country. Like this, I was like sank into the sand, and I was like, I'll deal with this when I get home. My Australian buddy, he's like, Chris, you need to address this right away, right now. Call Dallas if you need, help with a lawyer or something. So I call him. I'm like, hey, I think I might need a lawyer.
But this was really nothing your fault. Your ex had hired a hitman to kill who?
His wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And whatever became of that.
So I called Dallas and I lawyered up. He's like, well, if you think you do, you probably do. So just in case, at least have someone. And by the time I landed and got back to my apartment in Texas, by that time, there was a detective card on my door that they at least wanted to talk to me. So we went to have the interview with the detectives in like January of 2015. Then, his trial went on and he's in prison now.
How long?
25 years. And I think he's eligible for parole in like 12 and a half years.
So he never hired the hitman.
He gave someone money and a weapon, and they freaked out and went to the cops and ended up wearing a wire. So they had like a lot of evidence, I guess.
Evidence. So just the act of planning it gets you. I was just curious on what kind of prison time that gets you.
Yeah.
Not that I'm thinking about doing it.
No.
I'm just a curious person.
God, yeah.
Had he ever hinted to you anything about wanting her to die?
He had said things like, "Oh, I just wish she was gone," but I thought it was like disgruntled husband or that sort of thing. And luckily for me, part of my cutting the ties was he's lying to both of us. I sent her screenshots. I sent her messages. I outed myself to her, and like that worked for me in my favor too, because I'm like, why would I show or do that if I knew that he was going to do something or influence him in some way? And they're like, yeah, we know, we have that documentation. I was like, well, then why did you ask me if I contacted her? It was like very, like that psychoanalyzing thing.
Oh, yeah. Manipulation.
Mm-hmm. And she responded, she's like, I haven't been a good wife to him, da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, well, I wish you the best, but I have to do this for me so that I will not contact him and he will not want to have anything to do with me.
Now, was he abusive? Was this a pattern? No?
No, the pattern I recognized after that was that I was attracted to unavailable in some way.
Oh,
so whether it was emotionally unavailable, whether it was physically unavailable or matrimonial, in some way. And then I started getting real with myself and asking myself questions. I was like, okay, I'm the common denominator here.
Right.
So if I want to emotionally connect with someone or crave that vulnerability and that connection, then I have to be vulnerable and emotionally available to myself first.
Right. Wow.
Where does your journey pick back up on sugar dating?
Sugaring? Okay, so right around the book time. So I thought I was done. I was like, okay, that was a great chapter in my life.
Yeah.
I'm done. But then I had this insight, and I think I'd seen a video online in 2021 as I was gearing up to publish. I was like, you know what? I think I can give this another go, but do it in an empowered way, in a conscious way, in a way where I can communicate what I desire, what my boundaries are. And so then I re-signed up on Seeking in 21. And then I've kind of been off touch and go since then. But
now you're in Austin. How's the scene in Austin?
I mean, there's a lot of people in Austin that are, I would say Texas in general is a big hot spot.
I've traveled to Austin quite a bit, and I'll change my profile to that city, and I get quite a few matches. Now, it's not as populated as here in Scottsdale, being Arizona State's the biggest sugar baby university in the world, and then plus all the Scottsdale women, they have this lifestyle they dream of leading, and there's a lot of men out here that can provide it.
Yeah, I would say Dallas is probably a bigger hotspot for the sugar realm.
Yeah,
but Austin's pretty big too with UT and even Houston. And I have a girlfriend that's on it in Houston, or she's kind of touch and go from it, just whenever she wants to.
Well, let's talk about your podcast a little bit. What prompted you to start that?
It was an exercise in using my voice more and exploring my curiosities. Like I have an insatiable curiosity for life, and I love people's stories too. And I also wanted to build this brand, and I've always been a creative, so it was just another outlet. So that's why I named it the same as my book, which is Sex, Drugs, and Soul. And so I kind of focus on sexuality topics, spirituality topics, and self-expression. And drugs really either heart-centered or heart-expanding drugs, or stuff like plant medicines, ayahuasca, psilocybin mushrooms, and that stuff. So more of something that's going to help benefit someone versus, but I do also talk to people with addiction or that have gone through that journey and are speaking to their sobriety or their journeys in that aspect too.
Yeah. And where do you hope to go with this? You've done, 60-something episodes?
Yeah, 67.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, 67. And I've kind of touched and gone because I had a different job, and now I'm all in on my things now as of last October. So it's kind of lit a fire underneath me to continue to be consistent and still grow the podcast. And so I want to write another book. I'm working on like a series idea right now with someone that I actually met from like Sugar Daddy Meet. And so I love the dual perspective, like the sugar daddy and the sugar baby perspective. Because like mine frame of reference, I can only tell you from like me, the female, going into it really. And so,
yeah.
So I love, that's why I love what you're doing here. It's like you offer both perspectives too.
Yeah. we try to touch on both sides equally. It's a hit and miss. Sugar daddy interviews are a little more difficult to get than sugar baby interviews. I'd love to branch out and start, just a sugar baby only podcast, because good Lord, their WhatsApp group just blows up with all kinds of situations and questions and issues.
It's true.
And
Yeah, I just
those
joined
girls.
last night. And I
Yeah?
was like, whoa, there's already like 40, 50 messages.
I don't even know how you keep up.
Well, I muted it and I'm like, I'll catch up in
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, some of it's entertaining. Some of it's just like, good Lord, girl, get a clue, But
Yeah, even coming
You
on
don't know
this,
what we talk about, Marcus.
every now and then Alejandro will kind of give me a synopsis of what's going on, and I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
even-
relevant to us.
Yes, oh, I know. I'm
girl
sure
power.
it is.
It's all relevant
Yeah.
if you're female and you're a sugar baby.
Right?
Yeah. I'd love to have some of them on my podcast too.
So, what kind of experiences, crazy experiences on sugar dating?
Well, I had a really interesting one recently, and I was like, wow, that wasn't really good. Like, what do you call it? Carrot. So I was chatting with someone and I loved our vibe. And then we were like, kind of had a little bit of a window before we were going to have our first lunch. I typically like to meet someone quicker versus
same.
drawn out. But this one is like, okay, well, I'm out of town this date and I was out of town this date. So it's going to be 2 weeks out. So we had a lot of witty banter stuff leading up to it. So my 2-hour window for lunch kind of grew to 4 hours. And then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of digging the vibe of this dude. I'm just going to not book anything afterwards or any work projects or anything. So I leave up in the afternoon, and good thing I did. We had this beautiful lunch and we're, vibing. And he's like, so I brought 3 envelopes. And I was like, okay.
Wait, he told you he brought 3 envelopes.
He's like, I brought 3 envelopes. I really wanted to let you know that I'm serious about you, that I'm super interested. I would love to start something with you. And he's like, so if we have lunch and we just have lunch, he's like, I put $1,000 in that envelope. And if we go our separate ways, and that's cool whether we start something or not. And then he's like, but if we want to stimulate the eroticism or get things going or vibing a little bit and go lingerie shopping and hang out a little bit beyond lunch, then I put $2,000 in that envelope. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
I'm just kind of sitting
What's
there.
in the third envelope?
I know. Yeah. I'm like, wow. Okay. And then was not expecting this at all, because we didn't talk about finances.
I mean,
or
those
anything
numbers are
before.
already on the higher end.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'm an outlier, or I'm like, you can look at it, I'm an outlier or evidence of what's possible.
Yeah,
A little bit
there
of
you go.
combo.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. And so then he's like, but then if we go to dinner, he's like, I have a hotel room, because he lives like an hour and a half away from Austin in like a ranchy kind of place. He's like, I already have a hotel room, but if you want to grab dinner and have a longer night, and if we make out or have some fun, he's like, I put $5,000 in that envelope.
5,000?
Yeah.
Did you say yes to all 3 envelopes?
Well, at
I'm
first-
picking envelope 3.
Let's do all those things.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm so turned on right now. Because I have a joke with some of my friends, and I'm like, money makes my pussy wet. But anyway, so I was like, well, I gotta go take my dog out, and let's go do lingerie shopping for sure, and then we'll figure it out. But I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go to dinner. However, I've been in this tantra training for the last year, so my tantra teacher had also sent me a text message about a conscious porn screening that night that had a porn and wine pairing.
Well, there's something I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Just invite sugar daddy along.
I did. And so I was like, well, we could go to dinner, or we could go to this porn screening that would be kind of a unique first date.
Porn and wine pairing.
Yeah. And so
That would
we
be
ended
very
up-
unique.
Only in Austin.
yes, I'm like, it's very Austin, also near Portland, maybe Seattle.
Yeah.
But we ended up going to lunch and then the lingerie shopping, and I let him come in the room, and he's like, oh, you trust me to come in the room while I'm trying on? I was like, yeah.
Well, I did see what was in envelope 3.
Yeah. And I loved his vibe, and just had just cool jewelry, and just had a vibe too. And I
Okay,
loved our
how old was this
conversation.
guy?
So he is in his 60s, I think 64, 65, something like that.
And what kind of
remember.
industry is he in?
He is retired. So I don't know exactly where all he made his money, but
And you're in your 30s, right?
36. Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
37 in May.
Okay.
I know he went to school to be an architect, but I think he was in the oil and gas realm at some point. And then I don't know what other industries. But yeah, so I was like, oh, yeah. So he ended up going to the conscious porn screening too. We go back to his hotel, have a fun makeout section. We didn't have sex that night.
How come?
I mean, I think we were just like, our night was complete. We had fun even without just like the full,
the full Monty.
Yeah. Kind of leave something to the mystery or wonder. We have since then. But so that was a pretty fun, wild night. And I was like, all right, I want to stay, but I've got to go take out my dog because I just have this like new 7-month-old little Frenchie. And then I was like, the next morning, I'm like, hey, I would love to meet you for breakfast. So I went back over and we had ordered room service breakfast and just made out. And so then we saw each other a few times since then. And he's in an open relationship right now. That's the one I mentioned at dinner last night. But for people that don't know, so I was excited too at that possibility to be brought in and play with her potentially or connect with her too.
She's aware of you.
She is now.
She is now.
She is now. Yeah, she wasn't at that time. But she is now.
How long have they had an open relationship?
I want to say at least 2 years. I think they've been together for 4 years.
And have they been polyamorous before with?
Yes,
other people?
but he told me it wasn't really someone that he vibed with. It was more of the people that she was vibed. Yeah. So he was like, this is more for me. And I think y'all get along great. And I would love for one day you're like, hey, we're going to go to Mexico together. See you later. Or like have that kind of fun dynamic and friendship too. And so I love that idea too. But we'll see where it goes.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
So now every time you see him, do you get a new envelope?
I do, yeah. I think he wants to go on a monthly of like 10 or 15, but right now it's an envelope.
Does his wife know about the sugaring? Like, does she
they're
know
not married. Yeah, they're not married. Yeah.
Does she know that he gifts you so
I believe
generously?
so. I believe he's all out and fresh in the open now.
And they live together though?
No, she actually lives in a different city.
Oh, so he's probably sugaring her as well. Mm-hmm. Got it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to speak to the girls, and we're running out of time, unfortunately.
Dang, I know, because I have so many stories.
We have people that complain, I'm just not having any success. How are you guys finding these people?
I would say be very intentional and communicate. Be aware of, are you going into it for a dating dynamic? I kind of look at it as like dating with a bonus. Would I want to hang out with this person in a regular situation? And I kind of like my mind, heart, and pussy. I hope I can say that word.
You can say pussy.
Okay.
As you know, in the podcast world, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, cool, perfect. I like my mind, heart, and pussy to be in alignment.
Yeah.
And then the taboo of money or sugaring is a turn on for me too. I don't really see it as a taboo, but the world does, I feel like, to some degree. Mm-hmm. And so be clear. And I also would say, don't come from a sense of desperation, like have something of your own going, that kind of thing. I would say maybe have a goal or ambition. That's what's worked for me anyway. I feel like they like to see an ROI.
Yeah.
Or what's helped me. But I've also been told, like, I don't care what you do with this money. I've given it to you and you can spend it however you want. But for me personally, it's like I want to invest it and use it to continue my growth.
Okay, am I dumb? What's an ROI?
Return on investment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, good. I'm looking, yeah. And I'm the investment.
Oh my God, I am dumb.
Yeah.
A little.
And be open. I tend to like to go for like coffee or lunch or something like more casual at first. I don't always mention money right at first. I want to really connect with someone. I'll wait till I get to the date to even see if I vibe with them before even bringing that up.
Yeah, that's the same with Alejandra. And she's having a lot of success, and men are wanting to throw money at her, and people are like, how are you getting these men that wanting to throw money at you? And I think she just comes across very genuine.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I really want to connect with someone. I think that their story is interesting just as a person. I'm like, we already have some similarities and have the openness and spaciousness to be direct with what you want. So be clear about it. And yeah, I'm very curious about the person that sits in front of me whenever I'm chatting. I'm present. I don't have my phone out. I want to be fully there. And I feel like in today's world, that's not very common.
Yeah.
I have a weird question.
Go for it. I love weird.
Totally on a tangent. Do you have a celebrity doppelganger?
I've been told a couple.
I know. I keep looking at her too. She looks so
I can't put my finger on it.
Recognizable, right?
It's somebody famous.
So when I was younger, I got Cindy Crawford.
Okay.
But as I got older, I got the girl from like Third Rock from the Sun, the Kristin something.
Oh, yeah.
Or Katherine Heigl too at some points.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Well, just to describe her, you're 5'11", blonde bombshell.
Long, blonde, lovely locks.
With
legs not for days, legs for months.
Legs for months with cowboy boots and
beautiful cleavage.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get my application in.
Yes.
To go to the
Please
party.
do.
I do. It sounds so fun because I'm
It
like,
is.
when I found this podcast, I was like, I found some people, my people, like, just full authenticity. And this is also kind of like a coming out party for me too, because I wasn't as open about re-entering the sugaring realm like post book, but now I'm like, here it is. I'm all out in the open. Like, let's go, let's roll.
Yeah, it's funny when you say you found your people. I always picture that. Remember Blind Melon, the band, and they had this video and this girl dressed up as a bee, and she could never find anybody. Everybody laughed at her and stuff, and then she went to this field and she saw all these people dressed up as bees, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And they went out there and they're just dancing in the field because she found her people, right?
Oh, now I want to watch the video.
It's such a great video, and that just kind of reminds me of. Sometimes we feel like society is casting shame on us for wanting a better lifestyle and wanting to date successful people. For some reason, it's taboo.
And I've made so many quality friendships too. And it's been such a beautiful experience. At first I shied away, but like, who am I to shy away for something that's greatly opened and expanded and liberated me as a person and individual. And I feel like we naturally want to evolve and grow as people. So
Yes.
Well, we thank you for coming all the way from Texas to visit us. I hate that we had to cut this short.
I love that people are willing. This always blows my mind. I love that people are willing to fly in just to be guests on our show.
Yeah.
I love
That
it.
is
Thank y'all.
absolutely wild to me that people will make that effort and spend that money to just come and share with us.
But we've had a lot of guests too that come in like the night before, like you did, Kristin, and we'll treat them to dinner, or if they're staying an extra night, we'll do dinner. And I mean, it can go on more than just the podcast.
Okay, maybe we should shout out the restaurant.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. This is a new restaurant. Lily found it. And I'm telling you what, I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah, if you go on Wednesdays, they do a family style meal. There's just one set menu and they bring you everything. It was kind of a 5-course thing, I think.
Yeah, they started bringing food and Alejandra's like, did we order? I'm like, no, you get it all.
You only get to decide your beverage. Everything else is just coming at you, coming in hot. It's called the Larder and the Delta.
Yeah.
So good.
It was good.
And I hadn't had good Southern food like that in a long time.
That was some of the best fried chicken I've ever had.
It really
black-eyed
was.
peas.
So it was a Tennessee hot
Grits.
fried chicken, and I'm
the
telling you,
chicken was good.
Oh,
My stomach's growling now.
It was so spicy. Trucker doesn't like spicy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I saw sweat coming off his bald
Bring
head.
in the fire hose.
Yeah. What'd you think of Trucker? Was he what you imagined?
I've only seen a little bit or like listened to a few episodes, and I thought he was super handsome. And when you showed me the before and after pictures of him going, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I bragged
He's a brand
to
new
everyone
man.
because when I met Trucker, he was clean shaven, but he kind of had a receding hairline, had some hair loss. So
Wasn't bad, but yeah,
what
obviously.
hair he did have,
Yeah.
he kind of grew it out to compensate, kind of Donald Trumpish. Not to that degree. There was not a comb over, but still, I'm really attracted to bald men. And so I just kind of kept on making suggestions and talking about how I liked a bald man and how his head was so well shapen. I thought he could really pull off bald. And so he started just cutting his hair shorter and shorter and shorter, just working up to it because he was so nervous to go bald. And he started growing in his mustache and his goatee. And then finally for Valentine's Day this year, he surprised me and went the full bald.
He's like, fuck it, just do it.
He's so
Yes,
handsome.
he
It looks
is.
so good on him.
He looks like two different people. I feel like I'm cheating on Trucker with Trucker
So kind.
sometimes.
What's funny is I'll show people pictures of my license, which was before I
Yeah.
shaved my head and grew my beard, or pictures even, and then I'll
Yeah.
show that, and they're like, that doesn't even look like the same
It
person.
doesn't.
It's unbelievable.
Well, Alejandra just saw a picture of you clean shaven.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Never do that again.
never shave. I really like the scruffy man with
So
the
there's some advice for us older men that are
mustache
losing our
and
hair.
beard.
There's a fix for it.
Just go bald.
Yeah.
Don't hang on
It's
to
not
the
too
last
bad.
little.
I know.
It's such a good look. It's such a clean look, and it's kind of sexy to
It
just
is.
rub a freshly shaven head. Love it.
Do I get 3 wishes if I rub on that?
All right. Well, we've got to go. I hate to end this interview. I knew it was going to be a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. We're going to get quite a few clips out of this one, some sound bites, but let's take a picture afterwards. And,
yeah.
we'll throw it on Patreon.
Let's do it.
We'll put information about her book and her podcast. I'm going to listen to it.
And
Matter of fact, I'm going to download some episodes and listen to it on our flight to New York. It's a 5-hour flight, so
Good idea.
I think it's that far, isn't it?
We have a
how
fun
long is it?
picture from
4
last
hours?
night too.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like 5.5, 6 hours.
Is it that long?
I think so.
No, it's not quite that long, I don't think. That's like flying Hawaii. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I got a
I
long
don't know.
flight, and I probably have a middle seat because Alejandro will want the window seat.
It's
And what am I going to say?
It's my birthday trip, and Trucker sprung for,
First class?
yeah.
Oh, that's the only way to go to New York City.
Yes.
First
I'm
class,
excited.
back and forth.
'Cause
Wow, good
ours
for
is
you.
an overnight trip. So, well, not,
the
not
red eye?
overnight, but we don't get there until 11 p.m. New York time.
Oh, so you get there late.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys will hear all about it on our upcoming episodes, but we'd love to tell you in person at our party. So if you are interested, fill out those applications now. If you want to be a sponsor, I'm telling you, you better let us know ASAP.
Get after it. I
Yeah.
have so many. I'm going to sign up, but they haven't yet.
Yeah.
And they need to.
I know.
Right now.
We're going to have to cut that off too soon. And
Yeah.
I hate to say no to sponsors, but we're filling up.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to share your crazy sugar dating stories like Kristin did, and if you want to do it in person, we would love to, but we could always do it through Zoom or phone call or whatever.
I think we're going to have to Zoom with her in the near future.
Yeah,
'cause
I
we
want to
didn't-
continue this.
I'd love to.
We didn't hit any of your points on your
Couple
list
of them,
that you
but-
made, I don't
Yeah.
think.
I have
Yeah.
a long list.
You have a long list?
There's so many nuances.
All right. Well, I mean, we've brought guests multiple times back on the show, and we're going to do that with you.
Awesome.
Yeah. But if you want to share your crazy sugar dating stories, go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com, and just fill out the contact form. Or how'd you message us?
Yeah, through the website.
Through the website? Yeah.
yeah.
Or you can contact us on Instagram, Secrets of a Sugar Daddy.
Check out Sex, Drugs, and Soul by Kristin Birdwell.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
There you go. I know I'm going to.
Check out her podcast by the same name.
Yes, and audiobook with the authentic East Texas twang.
Wait, it's on audio.
Oh, you read your own book? I love that because you have a great voice.
All right, I'm definitely getting the audiobook. That's, to me, that's the easiest way for me. I'm definitely going to get the audiobook. Okay, cool. All right,
Nice.
Lily, see you in New York.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Have fun.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.